Good morning, Robert. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Look, I got Robert on the chat with me today because I was feeling that most people probably are in a situation right now after COVID that their income was stopped during this period. We're very chiropractic based. This is our main source of income. And I'm sure, like many of us, during this time, we started to have those thoughts that wouldn't it be good to have some sort of second stream of income coming in. And so it was through that thought that I got in contact with Robert because you have a second source of income. Is that right, Robert?
Yes. So I've got an online business selling basically knowledge or expertise, which I think is one of the greatest things a chiropractor can do. And it saved me during this lockdown. And my hope with this interview is just to give other doctors, some hope as well that they could do the same.
Right. But I mean, how did this all start for you? Because you've had your online business for at least 18 months now. Is that right?
Yeah. So, interesting story. I had a pretty successful practice in Cape Town, but I think like a lot of chiropractors, once I had a family, the whole issue of selling your time was very frustrating for me. Every time you took a holiday, it was like a massive beating financially, and I was doing early mornings, late afternoons, not able to take my kids to school because I would start so early. So for a long time, I wanted to do something to secondary income. I also was well aware that it was very high risk. I was the sole provider in my family. So if something happened to me, that was that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know where to start. I wouldn't even know what to do, what I would offer online, And then I got a phone call from my accountant the one day, and she gave me the great news that they had made a huge error in my tax liability. Mm-hmm. And basically I owed a huge amount of money to the tax man, way more than I'd prepared for.
Yeah.
And that sent me into this financial spiral where I had to now figure out how I was going to pay the tax man back. And it got really bad where the expenses going out were way more than the income coming back in. Mm-hmm. And how luck would have it, a patient came in. He was a business mentor from Germany, multi-millionaire, traveling the world type thing. And after meeting him and listening to him, I realized that he was what I needed to create a secondary source of income. At that point was to save me from, going into bankruptcy from this tax issue. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, right, I will teach you the mindset. I will teach you the blueprint of how to sell your expertise online. And because you're such a nice guy, I'm going to give you my mate's rate, which is 2,000 euros per month. Mm-hmm. And so here I am. It's like I'm struggling to pay the rent, and now this guy's saying 2,000 euros per month on top of that. So long story short, I just said to myself, I have to have faith that this is going to work out, and I have to take action. Otherwise, I'm going to be in the same boat. So I started working with him, and we started working together. I started putting together this blueprint, and it was probably about 2 or 3 months in where I got close to the end of the month, and I realized that we had a bad month practice-wise. Mm-hmm. I was still trying to catch up with the tax issue, plus paying him the 2,000 euros per month. I was not going to have enough money to pay the expenses of the business at the end of the month. And I decided on the one weekend I had to do something, so I put together a little webinar, which I sent out to just patient base. And I said, guys, I'm doing a webinar on Tuesday. I'm going to be teaching some concepts. I got, I think, 50 people registered for the webinar. Only about 20 pitched. And I taught a couple of concepts. And at the end, I said, look, if you want to go deeper into this, I'm doing a 6-week course. By the way, that course wasn't even completed yet. I said, I'm doing a 6-week course to take you deeper into this. This is the fee. Thank you and good night. And I went to bed and I woke up the next morning and there was $3,000 in my account of people that had purchased the product. And that just, blew my mind of, I didn't know what the hell I was doing at that point. And it made me realize the power of online and the fact that we can use our patient bases as initially and how that can grow. And that was about 18 months ago. My online business was mindset coaching. So I was very interested in that subject matter, and that's what I did. Now, during this lockdown in April, there was zero income coming from the practice, and I earned 5 figures in dollars from the online business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's covered all my expenses, it paid my salary, I could pay my staff, and I was doing it from home.
Right. It's so funny, don't you think, how those moments where we say like, oh shit, it's probably where we do the most growth,
Absolutely. It's a must. That's
mm-hmm.
when.
And so in saying that, I'm actually quite excited to see what growth will come out of this oh shit moment that we've just all gone through, in all sectors, and I'm sure there's a lot of people with a very open mind right now looking for something, looking to change because they're saying that old system just doesn't work.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I mean, I suppose when I speak to other chiropractors about online businesses, the first thing that comes up is I wouldn't know what to provide or sell, or I'm not an expert. I'm not. There's this thing called imposter syndrome.
Yes, I think it's a very big thing called imposter syndrome. Yeah,
and it's a huge disease in the chiropractic profession, and that's the first limitation that I try and help people with is I can assure you, if you are a chiropractor, you have some knowledge that is valuable to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to look at what other people are doing online. A good friend of mine out of Texas, he built a $10 million business teaching people how to jump higher. Mm-hmm. Literally, that's all he did. But what he did do is he took something he was interested in, he found a market that wanted that, and he provided that.
Right.
So as chiropractors, there's so much that we can offer. I mean, the obvious is got to do with health and well-being or spinal health, and there's many avenues that you can go to that direction. But even other than that, your life experiences have taught you something. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be a world expert. You just have to be further along the journey than someone else.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So you might be able to help stay-at-home moms like fit in healthy lifestyle. You might be able to help people. You were telling me that you've bought 1 or 2 practices or sold 1 or 2 practices. You could help somebody buy or sell a practice. It's like if you go back through your story, you will find that there are certain lessons that you have learned that are valuable to other people. Definitely. And then you find those people that need that, you offer it to them in the correct way. There's a blueprint for it, which I'll discuss today. And you can do very, very well online, and it's completely scalable, and you're not selling your time.
But what about, Robert, like I know as well there is the problem that you have with I'm not an expert in something, but also what about the technical side of it, setting up that web page, doing that? I know generally chiropractors are very good with their hands, but not so good with technology. Have you found that? I find that's the stopping point for a lot of people too.
Massive. So I would say that's the next big thing. So the first issue is what would I sell? Would people even want it? I'd say the next big one is where do I find people that would want to buy this product from me? And then the third one is the technical side. And yes, there is a bit of a learning curve. I mean, you are going to have to learn certain, foundational principles around how email works and things like that. But here's the good news. You have software products now like ClickFunnels and WordPress and things like that, where you can drag and drop literally to create a website. Yeah. You have like Fiverr, where you can get a graphic designer to help you with the website, even create images for a couple of $100.
Yeah.
So the learning curve, once you understand the foundations, you can have something up. And then if you want to make something a bit more, to give you an idea, I have a technical guy that helps me with the technical stuff. And he'll charge me like, $50, $60. And he'll completely fix, all my technical stuff. He'll integrate everything, and this is all on Fiverr. So you're able to do it at such a small percentage of cost of what it was a few years ago.
Definitely.
So all I've got to do is spend a little bit of time learning foundations, and then when it gets a little bit tricky, you just delegate it, and it's not pricey at all.
Okay. No, I mean, I have also used Fiverr very often as well, and it's fantastic. Yeah, I set up a Shopify store and everything in one day and 200 euros, and that's it. Now I have an online store, and I don't have to do anything.
Absolutely. So you could get, you could have a website, an email, a system, and all those integrated for a couple of $100. You could get a few images and things done by a graphic designer, also maybe a couple of $100. The beauty about chiropractors is that most of us have got an email base already, our patients. So that's how I started. You don't have to start with your patient base, but if that's possible, that really helps. But the most important step, and I think this is what everyone needs to know, is when you're trying to figure out what product to create, is you've got to niche to a very
find your niche market
person. This is the mistake that most people make. And if you've heard of other doctors who have tried this and failed, likely either they've given up too soon or they have tried to be too broad. So I help people express their full health potential. That's a great vision to have, but it's very difficult to get the right messaging and the right message out there to such a broad group of people. Because a stay-at-home mom would have a very different lens they're looking at through it to a corporate, high-level C-suite business person. So what's very important is you figure out, who do you love working with, first of all? What population group do you love working with? What are some of the challenges they face? And then how can I help fix those challenges? And if you get that right and you really zone in on one population group, you can be very, very successful. If you make it too broad, that becomes very difficult.
I understand. Yes. So, of course, this is just a really quick interview, and this is a whole course that you do. But if you're willing to give us away some goodies, that would be nice to hear too.
Yeah, no, look, I'll give you basically the blueprint of how we do it. So number one is you decide a population group you really love working with or you're passionate about. Then you find a group of those people. So let's use the example of, I want to help stay-at-home moms be healthy, even though they're so busy. Right. So that's a real good thing. You find a group of 10 of them, either on Facebook or friends of yours or whatever, and you write them an email and you say, what are the 10 biggest challenges you have when it comes to being healthy as a stay-at-home mom of two? You will then get information from them. They'll come back to you and say, I struggle with time, I struggle with boundaries, I struggle with this, I struggle with that, I struggle with that. They are the problems that person has. Right. Then you say to yourself, how can I create products and services that will help solve those problems? So it could be a course, it could be one-on-one coaching or group coaching. There's many things that you can do. With me, I created a digital course, a 6-week course, which I sold. Right. And then from that, I also did group coaching. The amazing thing about group coaching is it's so scalable. It's an hour or two a week, and you're working with 10, 20, 30 people at a time. So you found the audience, you've asked the audience what it is that they need, you then create that. Right. Okay? Then you need to find them and you need to get in front of them. And there's many ways of doing this. What I generally recommend for most people is Facebook. Right. Because it's just the biggest audience, slightly younger target market, maybe Instagram, sometimes it's YouTube or podcasts. We figure all of that out. But then you go to groups, Facebook groups. Yeah. And you join groups of where your target market is hanging out. Now, if we use the example of stay-at-home moms, there will be tons of Facebook groups where there are stay-at-home moms. Yes. And you join them, and what you do is you just help them. You don't go in there trying to flog your stuff. You go in there and you say, hey, I figured this helps. I've done this, and you become a voice of helping them. And by doing that, they will notice you. And then they will stalk you. And they'll go onto your Facebook profile and go, oh, and then you have on your personal Facebook profile, you have your normal stuff, but then you also have there written, I help stay-at-home moms get healthy. And they will organically, over time, if you're just providing value, they will organically, over time, start contacting you and saying, hey, I've really loved what you've put out there in the Facebook group. How can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you create your organic
Your audience.
customer. That's it. And there's ways of doing it through paid Facebook ads and all types of other things. But no matter what else we do, I would definitely start with that. And then you offer your course to this beta group, either for free or very low cost. And all you ask for is feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And they go through the course, they come back at you and they say, it was fantastic. It made these changes in my life. Then you say, great, can I have some testimonials? Because social proof is important. So that's how you'll get your testimonials. And then you improve it, you improve it, you improve it until it's really a great product. And that's when you can put it out and sell it at high volume.
Well, of course, like you said, I mean, using the example of the mothers, but even having that trust and that expertise, if you have your client base already, because I'm sure, imagine in this case, for example, I could name 10 of my patients that are stay-at-home mums that are super busy, you know, and it's a good thing that a lot of us have actually got that first step done, you know, as far as there is that trust there already and that expertise there.
For me, having an online business is the world's greatest business model for a chiropractor. Because there's a few reasons. Number one is we have a unique view of the world. You know, we just look at the world differently, and it's quite attractive to the people that are interested in that type of thing. We have very broad knowledge. Most chiropractors are pretty knowledgeable about many different things, whether it's around health, mindset, nutrition, spinal mechanics, whatever it is. So there's so much value we can give. And number two is we have patient bases to start this process
of marketing
and to market to and to improve. And there's already trust there. Because the biggest challenge in online businesses is to create trust. So you need to find an audience and you need to get the audience to trust you. And we already have that. So my first webinar, the one that saved my life, that made $3,000, every single buyer was a patient of mine.
Yeah.
So I hadn't spent a cent on Facebook or anything like that. And then you can take that income and then you can start building other things. The other beauty of it is you can turn the taps up however you want. You can get to a point where I'm still in full-time practice because my online business only takes a couple of hours a week. But you can turn the taps up and you can lower your clinical practice and up the online. You could completely go online, or you could just have it as an add-on to your practice, and then your online business actually brings in new patients as well.
There's that too. Yeah.
So it's this beautiful business model. And then say one day, you know, you want to take a holiday longer than 3 days.
Or say one day there's a pandemic and you can't come to work.
You can then say, okay, I want to take, you know, 6 weeks off in June. How am I going to do that? Then for a month or two before that, you turn the taps up on the online business and you make some offers, you build up that income stream, and then you shut your practice, and then the online business takes you through. You set up some strategies so that your practice is busy when you come back, and you can actually start taking holidays like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And maybe even start work later or come back earlier.
Well, I think it's like you said at the very beginning. Our business model as chiropractors is very dependent on you. You need to go there to adjust. Many of us as well are the sole providers for our families, you know. So if something happens to us or to our hands, that income is stopped, you know, and that's a very delicate line. And I think on some level we're very vulnerable that way. And it's interesting to think, no, hang on, with that same expertise that we have, just put it in another format, and maybe that can bring another income stream for you.
And look at it from another way, and it's not just about us. These people need to learn the stuff that we can teach.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's like your knowledge and your expertise should not just be in the four walls of your practice. You know, I used to go out and do corporate talks and workshops and all these things, but that's still very small. I mean, if I did a Facebook post once, which had 20,000 views, that's 20,000 people from around the world seeing your content. It's not 10 people at the business down the road, you know? So I think if we really are purpose driven and we want to shift the health consciousness of this planet through this chiropractic paradigm, which I think a lot of us do, it's our responsibility to spread that. And for you to do that, you need to become an expert at using the online game, because that's the way to do it. Okay. So again, why I say it's such a beautiful business model is you are serving a bigger group of people and you're becoming wealthy doing it.
Yeah.
That is the dream.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, well, thanks for the chat today, Robert. That was really interesting. And I'm sure that other people have found this interesting as well, as we're all having those thoughts right now. I'll leave your link in the description, of course, and if anybody needs to get in contact with you, they can. But
what I'd like to say is as a challenge, if anybody is thinking about this, but you don't believe that you have a good idea, or you're not sure if it's a good idea or whatever, I will get on a call with you for 20 minutes and I will tell you if it's a good idea and if it will work.
Okay.
The link that you have, they could just book a call there and it's no obligation. I'm just going to tell you if it's a good idea or not.
All right, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye,
Cheers.
Robert. Bye.